My friends, welcome to Listen to Autism, our second episode in English, in which we're looking to show you some views about autism around the world, different views, different cultures, and how autism is seen around different countries. And it's part of the thesis and theories that Abraham talks about a lot, that the influence of culture in autism around the world. So what can you tell us about this second episode in English, my friend?
I'm very happy. I was lucky enough to visit Indonesia a couple of times. I fell in love with people there. I still have so many students from there that call me. I do video calls. Some of them got married already and have babies, which is amazing. I'm sure they will watch it. And it's just amazing. It's once again talking about culture and autism to understand a bit more about autism around the world as well. Very happy.
Perfect. Perfect. So let's welcome Gaia. Gaia, we're very glad to have you here. Please tell us about yourself and your organization.
Okay, my turn. My name is Gayatri. I was born and grew up in Indonesia, Jakarta to be precise, the capital city of Indonesia. And I'm a mother of a young man. He is 34 years old, who was diagnosed as Asperger. And I moved and stay in Perth for the past 27 years here. Perth is in West Australia. So this is interesting. One is in England, one is in Australia, one is in Jakarta, and you are from Mexico. Awesome.
Yes. Yes.
I'm Spanish, huh?
Because in personal level, because I have a first-hand experience becoming a mother of a child with autism, I knew the hardship. I knew that it was not easy. And at that time, I sort of like trying to find a solution, trying to find what is the best way to manage this kind of condition, because back in 1990, Indonesia is not, autism is something not every doctors, even the top doctors, understand what is it all about. And I was blessed to have support. I was blessed to have the family. I was blessed to have the network. Then I was thinking, like, what about the people who doesn't have? What about other mother who has to struggle, who cannot speak English, who cannot even speak Indonesian language properly, who lives in a remote island? What about them? So that was the reason behind we established Empathy. Empathy stands for Masyarakat Peduli Autis Indonesia, that is Society Cares for Autism Indonesia, which is an NGO, back in 1997. So that was how I really involved, even though I moved to Perth, really involved into how can we make it a better future for these kids, for the parents, for the educators.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I can, just to give a bit of context to our to the community as well. Indonesia has so many islands. There are so many people around, many remote. So I was surprised. I was not far from Jakarta. I went twice to Sukabumi. So we put in place an educational program there for few schools, and it was super good. But when I went there, we're talking about the last time 5-6 years ago. And I'm still in touch. And I was explaining to the teachers and the students what I was doing in England, that I was working with autistic kids. They didn't, it took me a while. Just a few people knew what autism was, So is as you say, it's very important what you do there.
Yeah, thank you. Well, you did mention about island. For demographic background, Indonesia has 275.5 million. I think the biggest population in the world. And then it consists of 17,000 islands with 700 living languages. still being used. So there is a challenge there. The country is really beautiful. Abraham knew firsthand how beautiful the islands and also the people. But there is also a challenge because such a big population, of course, the prevalence is going to be high as well. CDC mentioned on their research that is 38.6 out of 10,000 children was diagnosed with autism. In 2012, there's another studies mentioned that there was 112,000 individual with autism. But then in 2015, it grows into 304,000. So can you imagine that huge population, developing countries with lots of hiccups for their political, economics situation. Autism, of course, is not the first priority for the government. There's a lot of issues like dengue fever, TB, stunting, which becomes the first government priority health department to overcome. So based on that, we understand that, again, empathy understand that we cannot expect too much from the government. And then we've been thinking about, okay, how can we do something? So in 1997, we established the first ADHD school in Indonesia, in Jakarta. And it was like, again, this is a couple of philanthropists get together and try to do their best. And since then, we understand like when you open the window and then just tiny bit, then you get the door, like you are exposed to so many problems that autism was much, much severe than ADHD. Then you realize, you need to change, not ADHD, but autism. And then I've been traveling around 18 provinces, trying to teach, trying to guide. First is about autism is not a disease. So something that you can do something about it. At the end of the tunnel, you will see the light. And then you are not alone. It is funny because when I talk to most parents, they accept my argument. They understand my point of view. When it's talked by the professional, they see like, of course you say that. It's easy for you to say that because you don't live with a child with autism. So it is very an interesting situation that professional has to be able to put their shoes as they are the parents. So that's the background why empathy established in 1997.
Wow, I totally agree with that. Sometimes professionals, they don't look close enough to parents. They talk from a professional point of view. That is why we do all of this. Well, Oscar is a dad of a 5-year-old kid with autism. I'm autistic myself, as I told you during our meeting. And what I get is, well, we are working with many sort of people that is connected with autism. Either they are autistic, they have children, and then parents feel closer to them rather than, sometimes they come from the medical. It's what you said. Autism is not a disease. So sometimes professional, it's true that they approach in a very medical approach, and it's that it's hard for parents to understand somehow. We always try to do it in a very easy way when we talking from the experience as well, and it really makes a change. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, to talk a little about my personal journey, that I think it always impressed me how parents get motivated by autism, and a lot of start doing something to try to change the work situation more than the situation of their kids after you realize what you're going through and what your kids is going through. For example, my first reaction was to do something about the lack of diagnosis and the misinformation about the diagnosis of autism. Then it started changing about the misinformation that is in the social network and the lack of information about theories, inputs, and in alternative like eating and diets, what is true about that, what is not true about that, all that misinformation, and in the end, and then in the education system. Right now, I think the biggest opportunity to change the view of the people and the life of people with autistic people is in education and changing the educational system. And that's why I want to tell you, I want to ask you, sorry, about this school that you talk about. How is the situation, how it has evolved since it started? What is kind of the plan for you?
Okay. That school still exists now. But we realize if that school, for that school, we only can help at the maximum 15 to 20 people, 20 students.
Oh.
But if you would like to have a strategy like national plan, like a wider community can reach our service, that will be much better. So after that, we realized that this is very crucial, that it is going to be parents' involvement. I did my research doing my master's. I did my research. Who are the key people for the development to be able, the success rate? It ends up with parents. And then I kept asking why. The answer was, for a therapist, they only spend how long? 1 hour? 2 hours? At the maximum. But the parents is always be there 24 hours. And then with the development of the child, okay, 5 years old, 1 therapist. And then 10 years old, 2 therapists. It's different. It's changing based on what they need. But the parents is always be there. That's why every seminar that I conduct, I always say that parents is the key. If the parents not accepting their child the way they are, there will be no progress. It has to be, parents need to be healed first before they can heal the child. And I think after 27 years, we have a good track record. We understand that, yeah, what we believe, our mission of the organization is to empower the parents. Actually, it's correct. We are on the right track. We are on the right path. So back in 1998, we combined several Autism Foundation in Indonesia combined, and we sit down together and we ask question, what we can do collectively. It is funny because some of the foundation, because they are not strong enough on the core, and some of them, finally, they are not NGO, they become more business oriented. For us, that's the reason that in Empathy, none of our executives has to have the organization business in autism. None. It has to be pure. This is volunteerism. This is a philanthropy that you need to really understand the core. If you like to do business, do something else, not in this organization. But and then we realized that people in Indonesia need a guidance on the diagnosis. With that population, how many doctors or psychologists can cater? And let alone they live outside Java, and they live, some people, they have to travel 2 hours by boat to be able to go. School children, they have to walk 2-3 hours every day to be able to reach their class. So we've been thinking about, okay, what about we send them the checklist? Lucky we've met Professor Gilbert. He told me, oh, Gayatri, this is what you need to do. Then we use mChat. Then we use from 23 checklists, the checklist point. We took 7 because Indonesian people believe 7, magic 7. The number 7 has a special meaning. So this 7, we make a video, and then we work together with one of the biggest lab in Indonesia who has 95 branches all over Indonesia. And then we ask them to put this video clip, 9-minute clips on 7 signs on autism on their waiting room. When they saw it, they understand, oh, okay, my son is actually autistic. My son has a label. My son has a condition. So it's not because of the wrong doing of the shaman. It's not because of the malnutrition. It's not because of when the mother got pregnant, she killed an animal. So there is a lot of misconception at that time. So after that, we realized that we need to make a video guidance. The first video guidance that we made is based on ABA. Empathy didn't work alone. So we invite experts from all over the world. And we are lucky to have one expert from Australia. She sat down with us. We took 180 hours taping of video, and we put, at that time, CD or DVD is only 90 minutes. So we put 90 minutes on what they can do at home, what they can teach at home. So it is very interesting because once we have that, then we start to distribute it all over Indonesia, and people will just get it. After we have YouTube, then we upload on YouTube. So after we distributing for free, then people start to realize, oh, okay, there is something we can do if our child was diagnosed with autism. First is behavior, because we believe, how can you teach a kid if he cannot sit down or she cannot sit down? She doesn't have eye contact. She doesn't remember, she doesn't know that her name. When they called her, she didn't know that it is her name. So first is behavior therapy. Then later on, we produce occupational therapy. And the third is speech therapy. And the fourth is puberty, how to manage puberty. So we produce 4 video guidance that we distribute for free, not only in Indonesia, but all over the world. We work together with diplomats who has a child with autism, Indonesian diplomats who were posted overseas. And we work together with big companies in Indonesia. We also work together with the health minister, and we also work together with Jakarta government to be able to cater for people, middle to lower class people who cannot afford to have the therapy. It's very expensive to have the therapy, I think, everywhere in the world, especially in Indonesia.
Yeah.
So that's the background where we established empathy.
It's amazing, and I want to pick something from there that is my slogan, no, my sort of fight. I totally agree. About the therapists, we don't nurture a nice environment. We drive crazy sometimes the students. I call the students because I come from education, but we drive them crazy sometimes. They have to attend the school if they can, then they have to go to therapy, then another therapy, and then, as you said, they change the key worker at the school, then they change the psychologist because they move, and it's a whole thing. What we are doing, no, we for One Smile to Change the World. So I created a pedagogy to improve social skills, and that is where I got the cum laude. And we want to train parents. Actually, we realized that we can make bigger impact if we train teachers and parents, because that way parents can work with the kids. They're going to spend less money on therapies, but it's going to be more productive, it's going to be more meaningful, because they will be able to work with their kids the whole time. They, wherever they go, they're going to be working on their goals. They're going to be working on improving speech, on all these skills that they need. Somehow is what you said. In certain areas, I think sort of there's a big business around, and many therapists. I mean, don't get me wrong. I really think that therapists are very important. But I would always go, if a parent asks me, I always advise them, go to a therapist that teach you how to do it at home as well. Not that they go there only there and they no come here, they do 1 hour, bye. That is a pure business to me. When they teach you, when they train you, when they explain to you how to carry on with that therapy, and I totally agree. I think it's even more crucial in Indonesia. Very clever, very intelligent what you did. And I'm talking from my point of view. When I was there, I sort of picked up how difficult it is sometimes to reach. We were doing an English program. I created a curriculum for few schools. It was very, within the same city, it was very difficult to reach certain areas, and so I can imagine on a big scale how big is Indonesia. And it's just wow, it's amazing what you did.
Thank you.
So, Gaia, I'm really troubled right now because there were so many things I would like to talk about after hearing you, from the similarities and the parallels in Mexico and Indonesia because of the economical situation, geographically, culturally, and all these things. Here in Mexico, is also very common that people use, some kind of soup or some kind of prey trying to cure autism or trying to cure delay of speech, for example. And all those things really interest me, and I think will be a real interesting topic to talk about. Also, I would like to know a little bit more about the work you have done, like statistics and what you have achieved, how many people have you been able to reach, because I think that the plan you follow doing this strategy to be able to reach many people is quite interesting. But the things that also the ABA approach that is so talked about nowadays, because there are people that say it's not the best approach. Also, Abraham has talked about how it's not actually the greatest idea to say it like it's the wrong approach totally, like it's just a part of the approach. So there are many topics that we can go from what you say, but I really would like to know a little bit about the government and how the government and politics see autism. To give you an example, here in Mexico, it's seen as a disability. So there is a program that gives you some money every 2 months, and you have some rights, like not paying in Mexico City. You have some rights about not paying public transportation and some kind of stuff. You are to be allowed in public schools, and you should not be prohibited to go into the schools. That comes with a lot of things that the schools are not prepared to receive autistic kids. So I would like to know more about this situation in a country as big as Indonesia.
Okay, first of all, the intention of the government is there. The intention to make a change is there. I've been doing this since the first president of Indonesia, and then it changed until the 6th. I think now it's the 6th. Going to be the 7th. So I've been dealing with several ministers already. The willingness again is there. But the problem is, with such a big country, with a big population, of course, the problems, as I mentioned it before, the bureaucracy from one ministry to another ministry is huge. And then within the ministry, the interdepartment, like one department said, autism is not part of us. but is partly part of the younger development for the health for younger kids. And then for the education department said, no, this is not part of us until their school age. So there is no, not yet established the holistic approach that 4 departments, education, health, social, welfare, and then legal for to sit down together and make a national plan. Not yet. And then there's no funding, like I compare it to Australia, which I am aware. There's none like funding for going to school, funding, basic funding to have a free diagnose, let alone education, let alone to train them to be able to work and be financially independent. That is still far. That's the reason why I keep asking or campaigning, do not wait for the government. It has to start from home. And we give you the tools. We give you this first video, second video, third video, fourth video. Hopefully this November, we will launch the last video, which consists of the success of the individual with autism, the younger generation, the one who's been through, who walk the talk. They are the one who share their experience. So again, there's no significant funding. There's no significant support. But the positive side of Indonesia is, because of the society, because of the culture, is tightly knit culture, extended family becomes a supporter. And then because having a maid is not expensive, they have people who help at home, domestic. There is a positive side, but also the negative side. The positive side, if the mother or the parents are good manager, they will delegate something they teach. I always tell the parents, use this video, watch it together with your maid, with your driver, with your gardener, with everyone, with the grandma, the grandpa, cousins, everyone, watch together. And then you pick which one can be trained by who, which one can be trained by the mother, which one can be trained by the father. That really works, because now they see that this is a collective approach instead of just the mother or just the father or just the siblings. So that's the beauty of having extended family. But because of the level of education, because of, again, developing countries, there is stigma of a family member has an autistic child, or a member of the family was diagnosed under the spectrum. Some people, they believe it's curse. Some believe that it's a poor upbringing or lack of parental skills. Like way back in the United States, probably on the 60s, on the 70s, they believe that parents who are cold, who cannot relate with the child. Some still believe that. And then some, again, because Indonesia consists of, I think, 70% they are Muslim, 11%, around 11% are Christian. There is very strong sense of religion. For some people, they use an excuse to have a child with autism. Oh, this is a God's plan, so we cannot do anything to change. I cannot blame them, because sometimes it takes a village to be able to change the perception. And then some people believe that there are children with autism will have low intelligence and they are disabled. Disabled means there is no progress, there is no future from them. So we try to change the word disabled, become defable, different ability, which still going on. And also some some parts of Indonesia believe that, or some parents or some people still believe that autism is contagious. And I just like, no, that autism is not a disease. It will not. It is very sad to know that several parents have they make a petition letter to ousted one student because that student diagnosed with autism. They're afraid that it is going to their kids also become autistic. So yeah, that's the country. That's the way it is. So again, with your question, my answer was the support is very insignificant, way from perfect, way. Still a long way to be an ideal situation.
Think I one of the that you mentioned when I arrived there. So I went volunteering, and I wanted to get into Muslim culture because I've worked with many. I know it from London. We have a huge community as well, but I wanted to get into the community. The second time, in fact, I arrived there during Ramadan, and it was so good. I arrived there, and they cook everything for me, and I saw myself eating by myself and nobody eating. And I asked, they're so welcoming. I love them so much. I told you, and I said, no, you're not eating, so that I don't eat. And I did the whole Ramadan with them, and it is amazing. But one of my it's because all these things that you mentioned, no, thinking that is a bless from some of them, the few people that knew autism, they were saying this thing, no, that is kind of God sent that, and parents, they have to look after. And that was where I believe my whole idea of the relation between culture and autism came. No, that is why I started with my whole idea, my dissertation, and it's from seeing these things. No, I saw it very clear there, and it was amazing because at the same time they were so caring. So they accepted the condition, and they were so caring. But I could see this thing, no, sad from the other point of from the child perspective. It is sad because they don't get to evolve, they don't get to develop, they don't get to even to have a decent life in certain ways, no, because when you cannot communicate, when you are stressed and you don't know how to say it, when you have anxiety, you don't know how to the body hurts. I feel it sometimes when I have sensory issues, and you need you have few days that you are more stressed, the body hurts. So imagine if you cannot communicate. But it's something I could experience, and it's the two sides, as I say, how caring, how much they want to look after everybody, but the lack of knowledge in that sense, how important it is, yes, training them and teaching them what autism is.
Yeah. Furthermore, because I knew religion plays an important role, so we invite the leader of Muslim society. We invite the leader of Catholic society. We invite the people from Buddhism. We invite the people from Christians community. And they are the one who become our front runner. They taught them, and they recite Al-Quran, they recite Bible, mentioning that, yes, we have our faith, but we have to balance it with effort as well. So it's try to construct that, no, faith doesn't mean that you just accept the way it is. Faith means you give them love. Faith means that you believe there is a message from God. If you have a child with autism, for you to become a better person, perhaps this is your call. This is like a life, a purpose of your life. So it works. And of course, it took years and years, and but it works. So that's why using online, we invite people from different background. Every 2 weeks, we talk about different topics. The front runner, the expert, the parents, even the siblings, or also the child, the individual with autism. They talk about their journey. They talk about the positive sides. So it's not only, if you talk only about the negative side, it will drag us down. Do you agree?
Yeah.
But we see the other side of the coin. They always see the other side of the coin, that perhaps there is a message for us to get together to become a better person because of this. And I
Totally
strongly
agree.
believe.
My whole thing, my whole research, my whole thing around the world, every congress I go, and I talk about two pillars in terms of two key things. I talk also always about culture, and the
Mhm.
other big thing is context. So the better context we create for our people with autism, the better life they're gonna have. I did not have in certain ways, because at the time when I was kid, the kind of autism I've got, Asperger, it wasn't understood, even in Spain, that we are we are a developed country. But so during my childhood it was a bit difficult. Then with time, when I was teenager, and then when I found the right context for myself, is when I'm a doctor now, and even more, I within that pathway I found my context to do what I do now. Oscar is big part of it, and all the colleagues. And we were talking the other day with one, we're doing another podcast, and she was saying, how comes that I never saw you? It's amazing what you explained. And I said, well, because Oscar said, because I was after him 1 year and a half, trying for him to go public and to talk around the world. But I had to find the right context for me not to be anxious, for me to feel confident. And once you create a nice context surrounding individuals with autism, it just they blossom. They just blossom. They just flourish. They become a better person. Some of them obviously will uh, sadly, they might not be able to talk, but they will be able to communicate. And therefore, if they are able to communicate somehow, then the level of stress is going to decrease, and then they're going to be able to express certain things, and then they're going to have better life. They're going to be able to things like having a shower, things like being a bit more independent, helping at home, helping with cooking. All those kind of things are things that if we provide them with a nice context, they will have a better life. They might go to a group activity where they sing or they play, or they just spend time with people.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, you did mention about independent skill, daily independent skill.
Yeah.
This is the one that back in 2013, Mr. Jokowi, now the president, he asked me, okay, Gayatri, can we collaborate? He was the governor of Jakarta at that time. And I said, okay. So he asked me, what is the best way for us to help? Shall we make a school? And I said, no. If you made a school, it's only about 30 to 40 people can be catered for this. But again, if you make it as a national plan, or Jakarta, like one of the province plan, then we can do a bigger impact. We can make a bigger impact. So he asked me, okay, what is your propose? Okay, this is what I propose to you, that we teach parents, educator, to teach their kids just seven independent skill, daily independent skill. Be able to go to toilet, be able to eat, be able to drink, be able to take a bath. Seven, just seven. Why? Because this skill, whether you're rich or poor, you need this. Whether you are Muslim or you're Catholic, you need this. Whether you are tall or you are short, you need this. Whether you are in a big city or you are in a remote island, you still need this. If your child can do this, half of your problem solved, which means the mother can go to work. They can open a small shop next to their house. And the child will have self-esteem, but at least I can take care of myself. He agreed. So we make a video, we make a comic, we make flyers, we make seminars, workshop, how to train this. And we invite professionals who has the experience, at least 2 years experience, younger generation or older one, to come to us. Then we train them intensively for 9 days. They become the pioneers. We call them pioneers of empathy. They are from, I think it's about 400 people applied. And then we narrowed down into 50. And then 50 of them, we taught them from behavior therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, public speaking within 9 days. And these 50 people from 2013 are the people who went through every part of Indonesia that needs a training. They went there as a volunteer. Nobody gets paid. So if we receive the funding, they just for the transportation. And they consist of psychologists. Some of them are occupational therapists. Some of them are speech therapy. Some of them are social worker. Some of them are parents. Some of them, and up till now, they successfully deconstruct the idea that there is nothing you can do if your child was diagnosed with autism.
Yeah.
Because they have the first-hand experience. They knew that things can be done. I give them the opportunity for them to meet the younger version of individual and the older version. And the older version, the successful one, told them, hey, look at me. I'm here. Personally, I know about 60 or 70 individual young generation with autism who can speak fluently, who can tell them, this is the treatment that I don't like. This what works. This is not what works. They are our assets. They are the one who becomes our spokesperson. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm super
If you
excited.
need somebody to go, count on me, because I will happily go there around Indonesia with you. I don't, I do volunteering all over the world. I would be so happy to go back to Indonesia and collaborate and try to bring all the knowledge we have in United Kingdom, America, Europe there, and trying to support. Believe me, please count on me, because I love Indonesia and I love helping. I've got a question here that comes also from my visit there. Okay, let's say that how is the social services, social care in terms? Let's say that we have an individual with autism. Parents, they obviously they become old. The individual with autism, they don't have family. Is there any social service that would take care of them?
No. I'm sorry, but no.
What would be their life in that case if they don't have anybody to?
This happens a lot. Just based on my research in Jakarta alone, probably there is about 30 to 35 individuals with autism, range from 5 to 30, 40 years old, who's just being neglected, and they left them at public place. So that was the responsibility of the Jakarta government to cater for them and put them in like an institution with a very
so they become section. They are sectioned in a mental health institution, I guess.
Sort of like that, yes. They become like in the vegetative state. They become very wild because nobody takes care of them and nobody knows who the parents are. That happens in big cities. at least 4 big cities reported to us they have this kind. And we try to train the carer. But can you imagine 20, 30 something within a group, range from 5 to
Yeah.
30?
It's just breathtaking. It's just heartbreaking. The problem with this is when you don't know autism, for these individuals, especially when I mean, we can see huge improvement. I've worked here with students from all over the world that they come, and then you can see when students come from countries where parents didn't know what autism is. They come to the UK. The guy is not kid anymore. He's 18, 20 years old. They still
Mm.
cannot go to the toilet. You see, but then you start working with them, and in 1 year or two, you see the whole progress. Now, the problem with this is when you see it is very. We agree that it's not a disease. We agree that autism is not an illness; it's a condition. Now, the thing is, when a carer, when a professional from a mental institution gets one guy, one individual with autism, and they don't know, they are not trained on autism, it is very easy to well, we're talking about severe cases of autism. In
Yeah,
many cases, they mistake autism for a mental health issue.
yeah,
So then they
yeah,
treat them like a mental illness, and then
yeah.
therefore it's more stress for. At the end, you develop neglect for autistic people, and it is something that is we have so a lot of bibliography about it. Autistic people are more likely to have to develop mental illness than neurotypical. Mental
Mm.
illness, stress, anxiety, depression, even if it's those one. Why? Because the world around us is still not ready 100% for us. So because you are stressed, because you have anxiety, then you might uh, um, develop any of these mental health issues. Now, if on top of that we add to the equation, we add to the formula neglect, then it is there. It's just almost a certainty that is very likely that they develop a neglect person with individual with autism. Then is when they develop mental health issues, and then on top of that is if the carer is not trained. So I think you're doing a amazing job there. Please once again count on me for anything you need online, in
Thank
person, because I'm on it always.
you. You since you mentioned about mental health, after 27 years, we try to provide education too. We try to provide diagnose. We try to provide. Oh, okay. That let me continue. Let me way back. Like after we distribute the checklist from mChild, then when the parents contacted us, we send them the video. Not only that, we also sent the name of the physician, the medical doctors, the expert in every big cities that already has a substantial knowledge about autism. So they can go there. So I keep telling them, MChat is not a diagnose tools. It's for screening. But while you wait, you need to do this to do it at home, to do what is stated in the video. Because time lag between having a consultation, waiting list is sometimes 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, sometimes it's 6 months. And they have to travel. Why not? You just do it at home. Whatever. And it's free. You can access. And all the video, we specifically stated you have to use the tools that exist in everyday lives. You are not allowed to use tools that you have to buy from United States,
Yeah,
from
yeah.
overseas. No, you use the tools whatever you have. So I challenge the expert who are the think tank behind every video to be able to use the language, no jargons, no expensive tools. And you have to leveling your intelligence to the intelligence of the parents. So it's not going to be confusing, but it works.
It's totally agree. I have a question here because Okay, many in different countries. Well, I have two questions. One is I want to leave it for after this one. Uh, in many of the countries, it is important to diagnose, because you want to have access to therapies, you want to have access even to benefits sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes any sort of support from the government, social policies. I guess in Indonesia, diagnose, if parents can do it, is a very positive thing, because they can start working straight away with the kids, because they don't have any sort of social service in that way. Doesn't make sense. They don't have benefits, they don't have support, any financial or economical support from the government.
No, they don't. So that's why it's like a chicken and egg. Is it diagnosed first and then therapy? Oh, you get the
Yeah,
funding first and then you go to therapy? No, it's not like that. If you don't
there's
have
no.
anything, then you work from scratch.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is better. The worst therapy is if you don't do anything. That's the worst. The most
that's very
dangerous is
good.
that. But
Yeah,
if you would like to do it, which is a proven, I mean, the expert knew what they're talking about, and then it's not costly, and then you can do it anytime that you feel like you're doing it, then it is there. It is up to you. So the choice is there. So actually, the first effort that empathy would like to do is for the parents to accept the child is have a diagnosed. They've been under the spectrum, but it doesn't mean that is the end of the world. There is a lot of things, and as parents, you are not alone. There's thousands of other parents out there who is probably has less finance than you, but they are successful.
yeah,
Why? Because
totally
they
agree.
believe. They believe in their child. And they believe and there is something that you can do. They have the hope. So I'm encouraging parents to create hope. You don't wait for hope, you create hope.
You created, yeah, yeah. Totally agree. Do you? This is a question. Okay, I'm very. As I told you, my main thing is to research all this culture and the way we approach, because I'm really convinced that in many things you said about home, about parents, about training them. And do you have any data? I think, did you record any data of the 7 skills you taught them, and the impact on the learning outcomes of the students, of the kids?
We would love to have that. We would love to have that. And hopefully by next year, we would like to apply our MONEF, monitoring and evaluations of our program.
Yes.
After we finish the 5th video, that means done. The tools is done. Then we would like to have a next step. Okay, let's check it out. How good is our program? What we have is just anecdotal. Okay, it works. Some of the kids
Yeah.
that we saw when they are 3 years old now become like a good painter, become a musician because of this video. This is just anecdotal. But we need a huge funding to
Yeah.
be able to do the
Yeah.
monitoring and evaluations of our program, as
Okay.
well as the need for the research for mental health issue for the parents, younger parents. So we would like to do preventing. How we can prevent, because we believe healthy parents will produce healthy kids. That means the parents who has a higher possibility to have a child with autism, we prevent them to have a mental health issues. So we will tell them, we will not using offline, but we will use all the data that we have. Then we're going to, there's a lot of question and answer, probably hundreds of, even not thousands, after 27 years. Then it becomes a content for our, either it's for our podcast, for our TikTok, but we will use avatar. We will use digital communication because we believe younger generations are the key. They're the one who going to make a huge
The
change.
impact. Yeah.
And they are the one who going to be impacted the most. They become the parents soon.
And I think it's very very intelligent from your side, because I know how much the young generation in Indonesia love social media and internet and TikTok and Instagram. And you mentioned something that I wrote here. That it was my second question. If it is very important as well, and I talk so much a lot in everything I do about mental health of parents. When you
Yeah.
have a child with autism, when you don't know how to deal with that, uh, some parents they also, even if they are not autistic, some parents they develop stress, anxiety, depression, and it's very
Yeah.
important that we train them on stress management, mental health management, so then they remain healthy mentally talking, and they can provide a healthy context and environment for the child. So it's very,
Yeah.
that was my second question, my last one, and I think you answer. Do you know any training? What can I say here? I mean, is I think your research is very in line with my one. Is amazing. So anything you need, all my support. I'm more than happy to help you with anything. You just count on me, because
Thank
I
you.
really like what you do.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Abraham. Um, Starting 2025, we would like to reduce the offline, but more on the online. My dream is to be able to reach the parents from remote island, to have what they call it. Maybe over there is a rich people who can say, okay, I will give 50 starlings, so they can put starlings everywhere in the city. So we can regularly educate the teachers, the carer, the parents, even the siblings, how to accept, how to modify their environment to be able to give a ideal environment for individual with autism. But I do believe there's a lot of kind people out there, because like for autism, we start from a small room in a garage. When there is a flood, our data gone, our computer gone. But look at us now. We have more than 1,000 members, active members, and we do seminars regularly every 2 weeks. And then we have higher involvement in social media, and we are the first foundation that the government trusts us to become their partners. So it's not easy, but I'm very positive there is a lot of help. But I think mental health issue is the issue that is going to be very pervasive in the future.
Yeah.
Probably after COVID. I don't know. There is a lot of thing about talking about the stress among parents, and then the relationship of between husband and wife. But I think years ago there is a statistic in Australia. 80% of couple, they become divorced because of um couldn't take the pressure of having a child under the spectrum.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I know.
we need a lot of help from you, both of you, from everyone who has the knowledge. Guide us. How can we make this better? Because we understand that our concern is the same. Our solutions is probably the same. Only one country with another country we need to adjust culturally appropriate the
Yeah,
what is
yeah.
needed.
Totally agree, and that is why I, because some people they don't see over over they don't see out of the box, no, and sometimes it is and it takes, no, it's just true. You just have to travel a bit to realize the differences and the impact. So that is why my whole work, and I the purpose of my life, understanding from a very very clear, because somebody says, some people, oh, it's obvious. Well, but for science, I'm a doctor, I'm an academic, nothing is obvious until you prove it. There is a formula, you prove it, there's a statistic. So that's my whole thing, understanding how that impact, because then I really believe that worldwide we can have such an impact that we change autistic people lives for real. Once we understand these things, once we learn from each other, because it's not that, I mean, what you said is just amazing. So you understand the culture, you understand the social economic situation of the country, and then you made the decision of training parents, so then they don't have to go for diagnosis. Diagnosis at the end is a paper. So if all the parents, imagine if parents all over the world were able to work with their children in many ways, in many difficulties, not only autism, but ADHD, dyslexia, dyscalculia, if parents had that training and they were able to work with their kids, regardless the condition they have, regardless the behavior they have, then world will be better, no? And that one, it can even be changed from education, that at the schools we teach people how to become parents, we teach people how to understand differences in neurodiversities, and I think that understanding these differences, we can, it's the only way we can make a huge impact. Thank you so much, and please count on us, count on me 100%. I'll send you my CV so that you can see all my work and my experience, and count on me, because this is what I really do. This is my whole thing in life, in my academic life and personal life.
This is what you believe in, right?
Yeah. This is what I believe in.
Yeah.
Oscar, you don't have the microphone on.
Sorry.
Is it mute?
Sorry about that. Yes, I think the parallels and similarities between cultures is a thing that we should elaborate further in other podcasts. Also, I love the simple approach, this use of seven culturally, the focus on the parents. Also, I would love to talk with you about homeschooling in the future. What is your point of view about homeschooling and other kind of tendencies? But it will be for another time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I think you should take Abraham's word for what it values, and I think he can help you to do this research and turn into evidence these anecdotes and experience, turn them into evidence. Also, I will invite you to do a pattern of your work, because it sounds like an amazing process, and maybe start seeing like international, because I think the work you do can help other countries. Using the same approach, it will be really helpful for other countries that have, trust me, very similar situations, and maybe that way you will get a better funding. That it will also be a good idea, but you need the research to validate the process, and the patent to protect your work. So. But I think the work you do is really amazing. I really believe in these simple approaches that really focus oriented, teach these seven abilities, and we start there. We start there. That's not the end, but it's simple. And for a parent that you don't know what is their context really, because it changes a lot. But this simple approach sounds really effective. I will love to. I'm going to look for the videos and to watch them. And so, but I don't know. Are they in English or in which language they are made?
In
Bahasa
Indonesia.
Indonesia?
Yeah. All the video is in Bahasa Indonesia, because majority they speak Indonesian. But you mentioned that it is good if they can apply it. The empathy approach, what we believe, the system that we apply is already copied and applied in Lithuania, and it works. So one of the experts from Australia who works together, who helped us with the first video, she asked me whether they can use it there. And I said, by all means, because we believe three main pillars of our mission. The first is accurate diagnosis. The second one is proper education. The third one is the strong support. Just these three. Government needs to accept these three. Even these three, they already applied for the community in Indonesia for Alzheimer and also for cancer patients. They start with diagnose. Okay, how can we do the diagnosis? And then secondly, education, educating the parents and carer and so on. And then the support. Whatever your disease, whatever your disability, these three things is the main pillars: diagnose, education, support. So each of them we break down. We break down each of them. And then for the level, macro level, that's the government part for the support. That's government support. But for the parent support is accepting, which is part of the diagnosis. And then the health minister and the education minister, part of them, teachers, educator, therapists, that part is about educating properly. You need to educate them properly. I keep telling the parents that this is the 4 things that you need to remember. If you would like to make a change within your family, first you need to accept. Accept that this is the way it is, and accept there is a way to make things better. Secondly, when you accept that, then you become more active. You need to have a knowledge. Open up. Don't just sit there. Don't feel depressed too long. Yes, it is going to be stressful, but don't be too long because this child is growing.
Yeah.
So the first, accepting. Second is knowledge. And remember, you're not alone. The third is always create hope. And the fourth is to do action. You do the action. Just do it. I use the Nike. Just do it. Whatever small, just do it every day.
It's just amazing. I'm sure that our community is going to learn a lot, because it's what I always say, no, and it's not because I'm an educator that I always fight towards education, and but it really, I believe that's maybe why now I'm studying 2 masters at the same time. I'm doing neuropsychology and clinical psychology, but it's just because I want to understand certain processes a bit further and do some research. But I always say that I consider myself an educator, pedagogue, and I will always consider myself a teacher, an educator, because I really believe that, well, if we work in I always talk about proactive strategies and reactive strategies. Proactive strategies come always from education, which is, they are the ones we should pursue, because proactive strategies is everything we do before a problem happens, or before children maybe they have a behavior, before they develop mental health issues. And then reactive strategies, what we do afterwards. So for me, proactive strategies come only from support and education. That's it. Because in any disease, in any mental health, in any disease, education. And then the reactive ones, which are the ones when you don't have anything, you have to do it because proactive didn't work, is where we include therapies, where we include all these kind of other things that they are there and is good. But is nowadays it's like we need too many around the world, too many psychologists, and like everybody psychologist or things like that, which is very good for support and for training. But then what do we do before people wait? Where is the training? I think some professions, we use them not in the best way. Psychologists should be there, for example, to support so that nobody develop any mental health issue. But then we wait until we have something, we are stressed, we have anxiety, to go there. And in terms of autism, to me, it is sort of the same. We need to approach this from education and training point of view, so everybody around the world is aware of what being autistic means, and then we create a more supportive environment for everybody, parents, individuals with autism. It is just amazing. I'm super happy that you joined our podcast, because our work goes it's in the same line.
Thank you so much for having
I think
me.
we are running late, same as always. I think if you want to say something to close, something else, and then we can do another one more specific if you want, and we will invite you again if you want. But any message you would like to share?
A simple one. I think there is no coincidence. I have a son who was diagnosed with autism. Oscar, you have a child with autism. And Abraham, you are the one under the spectrum. There's no coincidence. There must be a reason. And I think we are here for a better reason. So that's, I like to remind myself to remain positive, even though the world now is grim. But I think there's a lot of people who are kind-hearted. There's always be light at the end of the tunnel. So please do keep in touch. Please let's become a kinder, become a stronger person for the betterment of this world. That's my life.
Wow.
Hopefully, and forgive
Have
me.
goosebumps.
This has been an amazing conversation. It has been
Really.
amazing seeing you, meeting about your work, all that you have been doing, and you are keep doing it. So thank you so much. We want you back really soon. And I don't know how else to say. I feel so much respect for what you do and your willingness and your
No,
message.
I really admire as well what you do. It's
Yes.
respect, admire, and it's just amazing. It's
Amazing.
just amazing finding people that really wants to, it's on on the same boat, just to change the world and make the world a bit better.
No, my
Thank you
friends,
for
that's it for
inviting me.
today.
Yes,
That's it for
thank you.
today. This
Honored.
was listening to Autism. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.